your team don't win every game 3-1 and come back from 1-0 down and put in a really impressive performance and do lots of other things that really encourage your fans to support the team even more. Sucks to be you, all right? Where do we even start with this Liverpool team, all right? The Carabao Cup isn't even meant to be that good. The Carabao Cup isn't even meant to be this enticing as a game. Last season, I think a lot of people, despite being Liverpool fans, probably would have said to themselves, hey, at some point, might not watch this tonight, might go out with the lads, might stay in, might spend a night with X, might do this. All these kind of things. This season, Jurgen Klopp has Liverpool back to box office. And this side, it isn't just the starting 11. It isn't just, the classic 11 that everyone wants to think about when it comes to Jurgen. This is infectious throughout the whole squad. This is a pandemic of brilliance within the Liverpool team. Too soon? Maybe. Did I say pandemic? Yeah, probably shouldn't in the first minute of a video. But the point is, right, this Liverpool side, I've got a different level of belief this season. Not only in themselves, not only in their technical ability, not only in some of the changes and some of the positions they find themselves in, but just in the way that the team is meant to play. And it was quite clear last season that that wasn't the case. Now, that's not to say that the team gave up on Klopp. That's not to say that Jurgen Klopp is finished, which, by the way, to all the people who earlier on in the season said, Jurgen Klopp might be finished, there's now talk of him signing a new contract. Not that, trying to prolong one of the greatest managers ever to be in the Premier League's tenure at Liverpool before he's even spoken about it himself, but pretty good performance. Granted, it was against a team at the top of the Championship, and people in the comments do keep telling me, don't get too hyped on beating teams that Liverpool are meant to beat. Team at the top of the Championship, LASK, other sides you're meant to come back against. But momentum is momentum, and I know, I get it, you might come up against a really big force at some point, and that force might kill some of that. Maybe some of that self-belief that Liverpool are working up is a good thing. Maybe you do need to slowly work up to this level. And in fact, there are quite a few players within this side who are living proof of that under Jurgen Klopp. We can go front to back to front. I'll go back to front, why not? Kelleher, patient. Was a lot of people talking about Liverpool either selling him or possibly loaning him out over the summer because, hey, this kid is just too good to be a backup to Alisson. No, kid stayed. Here he is, putting in a pretty good and I'd say commanding performance in the Carabao Cup. In front of that, Konate, slowly building up. He built up from good to imperious, very good, a wall, all these kind of things. What else do you want to drop onto that? Quansah, someone else, Scouser, coming through the team. Love it. Tsimikas, patient, building up. Who even starts at right back in a game like this, hey? Who, if you're Liverpool, do you go, hey, we got to start someone at right back. Why don't we start a midfielder? Again, basically telling the opposition, we will probably play three at the back tonight. Now, granted, you could probably put anyone from this Liverpool side currently in that right-back position, and it feels like a position that Konate or whoever it is alongside him will aggressively defend. But I kind of enjoy watching a midfielder that Liverpool have, aggressively said is a creative midfielder, just drop back and sort of go, hey, yeah, I can also be really good at reading the game. I can also be really good at filling in for other players around me. Starting the evening with Curtis Jones at right back and a midfield of Harvey Elliott, Wataru Endo and Ryan Gravenberch, it's not the worst midfield four, and frankly, it's a midfield four, it's not a back four. But there are points last season where people probably would have questioned whether Harvey Elliott should start in their limited knowledge, that is. Not that Harvey Elliott wasn't good, just that people were questioning where he was going within the side. The same for Curtis Jones. Hell, even I at one point said to myself, what's the future of Curtis Jones here? But tonight, and on nights based around, just games where you can drop a player in like this, I'm reminded how long Curtis Jones has been building up to this moment. Captain to Liverpool. I think he might even be the youngest captain ever to captain or put the captain's armband on at Liverpool. That's pretty special. The youngest Scouser certainly ever to do it at Liverpool like that. That is special. On top of that, he then puts in a great performance. Looks like he's dropping back, doing that kind of England, was it World Cup? International tournament thing where he just sort of drops back and goes, don't worry, I'll run it from here. Giving Endo a bit of space, giving Gravenberch the license to go downfield, giving, say, Harvey Elliott a bit more of a, hey, we can be a partnership, we could be a tandem, we're young, we're dynamic. And then we got Ben Doak, young, dynamic ahead of that. when you've got Cody Gakpo, young, dynamic, ahead of that, when you've got Diogo Jota, who's basically like a veteran in this side now because he's been at Liverpool for such a long time. Liverpool signed him as a backup. And now, can you imagine this Liverpool squad without Diogo Jota? By the way, what a finish for the third goal. By the way, how good, and this is my first kind of critical, I want to say tactical point for Liverpool, is Liverpool's pressing. I get it again. It's against Leicester, and pressing a top quality side will be different to pressing Leicester. But Leicester still tried to cope with it. Liverpool still had to absolutely they basically just, every time it was like putting a blanket over the opposition and just going, we're going to trap you under this. It's not even like the first person who triggers the press has to win it back, right? It's like, hey, if the ball goes loose, there's a Liverpool player there to win it. If you get the ball beyond our first press, there's a second wave, there's a third wave, there's Tsimikas, there's Kwanzaa, there's literally Konate waiting on the other side of that, just going, I'll take that loose ball, don't worry about it, mate. You push on, don't worry about it. So that press is very effective. And bear in mind, the first half of the season last season, Liverpool not good at pressing. Second half of the season, Liverpool getting some of the results, Liverpool getting good feedback, should we say, from some of that pressing. They were second in the whole of the Premier League for pressing in the second half of the season, basically post-World Cup. How would you like them apples? People saying Jurgen Klopp and pressing outdated. People saying that Pep Guardiola has moved things on, that Mikel Arteta has moved beyond what Liverpool are able to achieve. Well, at this point, we're seeing that Liverpool have a whole, like as Jurgen Klopp called it, and weirdly, I think this shows that he is, I guess, cognizant of marketing and just the way that Liverpool are perceived. Liverpool 2.0. There's no way in Jurgen Klopp's mind that Jurgen Klopp goes, this is just 2.0 of my team, or even speaks about it in private terms like that. But it shows how aware of the press he is. It shows how the portrayal to the public is just as important as the portrayal to the team and himself. He knows that the players know him. He knows that the players trust him. And frankly, the players really do look like they trust him, especially after a game like the Carabao Cup game, where you can see how invested Curtis Jones is, where you can see how invested the new players who come into the team are. And I've not even spoken about the subs yet. Of course, Liverpool's first goal and Leicester's first goal, we'll go for that one first, right? Leicester's first goal, disappointing. Again, concede early. It wasn't Jason McAteer, it was Casey McAteer. But Casey did that thing that a lot of other teams who come to Anfield do at the moment and went, hey, I think I might score tonight. And Liverpool went, yeah, don't worry about it. You get the first one, we'll just get the other three. Cheers. I get it, but like, again, Liverpool early on caught out. Seems that people are able to kind of get into those positions. And frankly, it's not even like Liverpool are kind of switched off at that point. In all these games, Liverpool have looked at the races in some of them. Some of them obviously not, but like some of them they've looked like they're at the races, and it's like, okay, are they just scoring good goals against this side now? Are they just scoring a goal and this side are just like, yeah, cool, we'll go 1-0 down, we'll still come back, we still got this. By the way, tonight, no Salah. Tonight, no Trent. Tonight, no Virgil. Tonight in midfield, if you'd have told me last season that it was two new signings, one of which came from a potentially relegated Bundesliga side and what most people termed a reject at Bayern, alongside Harvey Elliott, who people did malign. Let's not lie about it, guys. Did malign last season. Wrongly, but did malign. It's insane. You would have just gone, yeah, that is worse. That is actively worse than what Liverpool have. Even though what Liverpool had last season didn't fit the bill, it was nothing to do with quality, it just didn't fit the bill, you still would go, yeah, are we really building here? And yet here we are with Gravenberch, who, frankly, that assist for the first goal was filth. Shifting it from foot to foot like you're playing five-a-side. A lot of managers in the Premier League, by the way, talking now about that five-a-side element. In fact, Pep went on to, I think it was The Athletic a couple of weeks ago, and I saw this in a comment, and so I went and listened to it, and said, we've made these small-sided pitches where we play five-a-side games, competitive five-a-side games, and we're really improving the players' close control. We're really improving the way that they press, the way that they use that space. Now, that is kind of 2, 3, 4-fold, 5-fold. Obviously, there's loads of different benefits. It's not just one thing where it's like, hey, that's close control. It also improves the way that Liverpool bunch up in certain parts of the field. It improves, and frankly, Fluminense play later tonight. It is a bit of a thing going towards them, right? Where it's like they try and compress the field, make it as difficult as possible or as easy as possible than to play through the opposition or to be played through, and to make it almost like a small-sided game in part of the field. You can't help but feel that Liverpool, City, all these bigger sides are currently looking at, hey, we've got a load of quality. If we can press the pitch with them, compress, not can press, then we can win the ball back very efficiently and make loads of space for ourselves to run into. We've got a Cody, we've got a Nunez, we've got Jota, or out there you've got Luis Diaz if you want him. We've got Salah, or we've got Ben Doak. We've got all these players who, if you give them the ball, they can turn on a dime and they can be away. They've got a midfield that, with Endo, they have the guy who, it seems we only sign Bundesliga players to sort of make quite crude fouls and basically just go, yeah, don't worry, I'll take a couple of yellows tonight, boys, if I have to. That is what Endo does. Now, what it basically allows him to do is, Klopp almost indefinitely has said along the lines to him, you can go and get a yellow card if you want to. Don't get a red, but you can go and get a yellow card if you want to, as early on as you want in the game. Just keep pushing them until you go through them. But you've got like those little light taps. You're basically like sort of just pushing. That's what Endo does all night. That's what Gravenberch does. That's what, when you look at Cody Gakpo, his massive feet, he just seems to be able to just reach around players and just boop, the ball's away. It's Sami Hyypiä-like. It's Daniel Agger-like. You just don't see that in a lot of strikers. The willingness to be cheeky, the willingness to go, I'm going to win that back because I'm bigger than you, I can stretch around you, I can do all of these impressive little bits, and I'm going to lay it off to Ben Doak, who's then going to basically break your ankles with a crossover, but the football version, or I'm going to lay it off to Jota, who's then going to try and cross it back in. By the way, tonight, how many times did you see that the Liverpool side were almost edging themselves rather than scoring a goal? So basically going, hey, we will get there in the end. I'm going to pass the ball to you. Harvey Elliott was in wide open space for a 3-1, and it was basically like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll pass it back. I'm going to go a little bit wider. Maybe he overtouched the ball, but you get what I'm saying. Now, this is the bit you've all been waiting for. The Szoboszlai comments. In the last game, I said I thought he was world class, and you can see a bit of the Madrids in him. You can kind of see a bit of the world-class nature in Gravenberch as well. But with Szoboszlai, there is this cockiness. There is an element of showtime about this guy, an element of, you have come to see me and I have to put on a show. And what was funny was, when he came on the field, the crowd acknowledged him as such. The crowd acknowledged Nunez, the crowd acknowledged Szoboszlai as, the show is here, man. Like, this is like the Harlem Globetrotters. When he first got out there, his first touch actually got away from him, and you could see how angry he was. You could see in his eyes, in his posture, in his demeanor, he was going, I really want to put a show on for these guys. Seconds later, despite the fact that for the rest of the game, he was basically a midfielder that was just a kind of, felt a bit like a midfield body, but was doing cute little touches and all these kind of things. He laced that ball. That is one of the greatest outside of the box Liverpool goals that we've seen in this generation. And there have been some special outside the box goals in this generation. It was so perfectly hit. It, as they said in the industry, stayed hit. And it's kind of one of those things where you go, oh, we thought you kind of had like one of those in like 50 shots. And maybe he does want to have one of those in 50 shots. In fact, in my exact profile of him on the channel when he first signed, actually just before he first signed, but when he first signed, I said, he takes a lot of these long pot shots. Klopp will probably tell him to stop some of that. And you can kind of tell from the Liverpool players' faces afterwards, like, Curtis Jones turned around and was like, you could see on camera, he's like, did you see that? In Scottish, he's like, did you see that? So everyone, they weren't surprised, but they were like, you did that in a game scenario? We've seen you do this in training. We've seen you do this in, just like a low pressure, hey, that was good, but do that out on the field kind of thing. He actually just top corner. And then he almost had another top corner shot, which was literally like maybe that far away from being so. The goalkeeper probably would have got that, but that stayed hit. And it gives Liverpool another element. Before, if, say, Hendo has the ball on the edge of the box, there is a little tippy toe, and it's, oh, well, maybe there's a shot there that might edge in. When you saw the same with like Gini Wijnaldum actually had a pretty decent hit on him, but it wasn't quite there. Fabinho actually had a decent hit, but rarely did he get it out enough for Liverpool. With Szoboszlai, it's one of those things where now teams know he hits it like that. Cool, you've got to get out to him. There's going to be loads of space for Nunez or Gakpo or Jota or Luis Diaz or Salah to just slip through. And to an extent, like, he could kind of take up that space because Salah wasn't there. But there was, again, fascinating article, Sam Maguire, who was talking about the passing. Was it Sam? I think it was Sam. I read so much Sam that I just don't know anymore. But it was Sam Maguire, I think. And he said, last season, you would have seen a very conventional pass out to the wing-back from Liverpool, probably to a Trent or a Andy Robertson. Obviously, tonight, Liverpool didn't have that. They had Tsimikas, and on the other wing, it was a mixture of Harvey Elliott and in the end Szoboszlai, and in the end Bajcetic, and in the end it wasn't really Curtis Jones. But you get what I'm saying? There wasn't really that outlet. This season, that isn't the case. So often last year when you go, okay, we've got the ball back, let's do that circulation thing we do, and then we'll make a bit of space and we'll score a goal. This season, it's like, will we circulate? Will we go wide? We'll play a ball into feet and then overlap. We'll play a ball into feet, that player will turn and score. Cody Gakpo. And then Szoboszlai is on the edge of the box now. You've got that. McAllister loves a little shot like that. Endo could probably do a little one like that. Give him a little one like that, Endo. Give it. Curtis Jones loves a little one like that. Have you seen some of Curtis Jones's goals? They're not the stay hit like that. They're just like, I'm just going to dink that, see what happens. Oh, there it goes. And then Ben Doak. Love him. Turns really well, constantly has people falling over, constantly making space, possibly holds onto it just slightly too long. Sometimes it gets a bit static in the box and it's a bit like, could you maybe, yeah? But very often you've got someone coming in around the penalty spot, around the semicircle outside the box, top of the key, and you're sort of like, okay, I can see a shot coming in. A lot of sides end up blocking that, but it makes some space. It kind of shifts them around a little bit, and Liverpool can just pile in, and in the end, you see there is a chance created. Leicester might have gone 1-0 up tonight, but it was like, whoa, this is intense. This is insane what Liverpool are breaking out here. So it isn't really like it was like 1-0, really. It was like 1-0, but, 1-0, but we'll see in 20 minutes when we score sort of thing. And you can just see the confidence just flowing throughout this team right now. Klopp has got this side purring, but he's not only got the preferred players purring, he's got the whole team going, mate. He's got everyone within that squad saying, I reckon we can actually do something serious here. I feel like I've got a meaningful part to play. When Curtis Jones goes off, he's clapping everyone. He sees Bajcetic on the side and he's like, yes, you're coming on, I'm going off. Quality coming on, quality going off. These guys are growing really fast. They're learning. And I get it. Again, quality of opponent is a really important thing. And imposing yourself on someone who's top of the championship, maybe that should be more respected. But at the same time, it's not the same as imposing yourself on a City or someone else in the Champions League or anything like that, right? So I get it. But in context, what Klopp did tonight was a little flex. It was, I'm going to see how hard I can push these guys. I'm going to throw a couple of guys on who are going to finish this game. I've not even mentioned Darwin. When Darwin came on, running down the shots, closing people down constantly, making people nervous. There's a point where he had his hands on his hips waiting for a throw in. He wasn't even in focus. I could just see him in the background. He was just like, I'm just loving this. He looked like the kid in the playground who just got to go out to play at break, and it was just like, I'm just playing football, bro. All of these elements add up. All of these things are exactly what Liverpool fans want and love in a Liverpool team, or at least in a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool team. They will be the things that we might miss in a couple of years' time. They will be the things we might look back on and go, football is different now under whoever we get next. But this Jurgen Klopp side, like, wow. We thought it was impossible for him to rebuild. People were saying, year 7, Klopp goes out because of the Dortmund thing. Well, look at them now. Even if Liverpool, whatever, rebuilding this team is a great feat, and the discussion that Klopp should stay longer is a legitimate discussion now he's rebuilding this side. Do you think he only wants to get a couple of years out of this side and then be off? Maybe Liverpool only want a couple of years out of him in this team because they go, well, we want to bring someone else in, we want to transition that person in, maybe we already know who that person is, maybe we don't. It is cohesive. It's amazing to see other people slot in. It's amazing to see that without Virgil in the side, without the captain, without the vice-captain, where's the leadership meant to come from? It is one of those sets of leadership where it's like, hey, it just runs throughout. There is clear motivation. I barely even mentioned Ryan Gravenberch tonight, but boy, does that guy look silky. In the summer, we were gutted that we missed out on Jude Bellingham. And sure, now he might feel like a luxury player. Now he might feel like the kind of player where you say, okay, well, maybe we should have stuck with him. Maybe it would have been great to spend whatever money on him. He's good for Madrid. He's excellent. He's incredible for Madrid. He's box to box. Liverpool looked at him and they went, there's value in the market that we can probably get with a Gravenberch, an Endo, a Szoboszlai. And that will rebuild our midfield. And at the time, it was disappointing to miss out on Jude Bellingham. Do you regret that now? I mean, maybe you can, sure. Regret it if you want. Like, you obviously can be upset about not having one of the best players in the world or one of the most informed players in the world and a combination of the best in the world. But still, you love these guys already, right? Because I do. I know there are some deficiencies, and we should always talk about those. Sometimes Liverpool look a little bit susceptible to a counter-attack. That's because they are so in control at the other end of the field. or so aggressive at the other end of the field, not in control, that they could control it a little bit more. I think that comes with time. That probably comes with a solid centre-back partnership. Konate being back up to fitness. Probably Virgil van Dijk on the field, though I did like Quansah and his tackles this evening. And it probably comes when we know what's going on that left side consistently. Klopp clearly likes playing a left back out there. Puts Tsimikas there tonight, puts Andy Robertson there. He knows they're capable of filling in those roles, of blocking things off. At one point, Konate went over there and was like, yeah, sure, I'll defend this side too. Don't worry about it, guys. It's just great to watch, and it's really encouraging for the future that there are so many invested people and young, hungry Liverpool players that are so satisfying to watch. They love pressing. They love these these little transfers of play from side to side. The little sequences they put together are satisfying. So yeah, I get it. Like, it's the Carabao Cup, but if the Carabao Cup is getting you going, it's getting me going. You know there is something coming this season. I know I'm normally in my office. I haven't done a video like this in ages, but I was just so jazzed after watching that Liverpool team tonight. I had to do a video. So, I love you guys. Thanks a lot for coming. We're almost at 81k for the Lawrence McKenna channel now. So if you've not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you would. You're welcome to. It would be really great to have you. Thanks a lot to everyone who already has. We're on our way, guys, to 100k. And I hope we get there soon because, boy, do we need those brand deals. Anyway, it's been nice to chat to you. Let me know about your Liverpool comments in the comments below, and I'll chat to you guys later. Much love.